नमस्सुन्दरनाथाय तस्मै हालास्य वासिने चतुष्टि विधा लीला येनाकारि भुवस्तले श्रीमत्सुन्दरनाथस्य देवीं शफरलोचनां कलये हृदये नित्यं कदम्ब वनवासिनी पूतं स्वतः पूततरं ततोयद् गाङ्गं पयः शङ्करमौलिसङ्गात् तत्पातु मातः प्रणयापराध पादाहतैः पूततमं ततो नः गुणान्न गृह्णन्तु खलास्ततः किं ततः किं गृह्णन्तु दोषानपि वा ततः किम् अपि व्यतिस्ताम् उभयं ततः किं गुणोपि दोषो यदि दुस्सहं तत्. We finished with this shloka last time. So we are coming to the end of the Sarga, where Nilakanta Dikshita slowly brings in his personal touch here. He has, till now he was talking about how the Dushkavis work and then how the Satkavis are, what is Rasam, what is the best part of a Kavyam. See, many times we enter into a Kavya without knowing a lot of these things. Right? So he tries to give what we need to look for in a Kavyam. So it says there are gunas and there are merits and demerits in all kavyams, all shlokas. Even Kalidasa has been quoted many times. We say Kalidasa is a Mahakavi, but he has also been quoted many times for doshas by Mammata. There are even PhD theses on Apanini usages in Kalidasa's works, or in Ramayana for that matter. People have done work on that, yes. But then Panini is not the only grammar. There are other grammars also, Vyakarana Shastras. There are supposed to be Navavyakarana, 9 types of grammars. And Hanuman was praised as the Navavyakarana Pandita in Ramayana. Yet, so what he is trying to say here is, there are merits and demerits or faults in a Kavyam. Those who are all khalaha, dushtaha ye santi, te tu dosharupena pashyantu, ullikhantu, tatra kimapi chinta nasti, kapi chinta nasti, tatah kim. Gunan pashyantu, tathapi gunana ma svikurvantu. It's okay if they do not accept the merits. I'm fine with that. The poet himself feels, as long as you accept, if there is a fault, you highlight it, I'm fine. See, that is how a great poet or any creator will think. It is a constructive criticism in their perspective. So they take it as a criticism, they will use that and to improve their work later. So doshanapi grinnantu, it doesn't matter, or let them treat both as same, as equal. Gunan grinnantu, doshanapi grinnantu, gunan ma grinnantu, doshanapi ma grinnantu. Tatah kim. Vyatistam ityukte tatra ubhayam api samatvena grahanam kurvantu. Chinta nasti tatra. But then where he is not able to tolerate is, there is a guna, parantu tam gunam swikritya Eshaha doshaha iti yadi vadati kaschit tattu dussaham. That is very difficult to tolerate. You cannot take a merit and put it in the fault, in the group of faults and say this is a fault, when it is actually a guna. Because he says there is a divyatvam associated with this kavyam. How can there are faults there? It is bound to have faults. Because we are dealing with a very divine creation called Kavyam. That is, he goes to the next shloka to explain the divinity of Kavya Karana. Kva Brahma Lokaha, Kva Giram Savitri, Kva Bhumi Bhagaha, Kva Vayam Varakaha, Dishtya Upalabdhamapi Devatam Tam, Vikrinate Vrittikrite Vimudhaha. So we are in a very pitiable state that having had this divine form of speech, Kavya Karanetu Tatra Divyatvam Vartate, Katham Vartate, Yataha Kavyasya Adhidevatatu Saraswati Tatra, Sa Brahmaloke Tishtati. Brahmalokastu Sarvesham api Lokanam Upari Asthi. If you look at the 14 worlds, it is the final, Satyaloka is the topmost, or it is the final lokam where you have to go. That is your aim if you are transcending each loka and going beyond. So bhur bhuva swar mahar tapaha satyam janaha tapaha satyam. Satyam is the last lokam, and in the same way there are 7 more further down, atala sutala ityadi. So kva brahmalokaha, brahmalokastu satyalokam tatra. It is where is that lokam and where is this bhumi bhagaha? Kva bhumi bhagaha atra yatra vayam smaha. We are all in a place which is bhumi, which is in between good and bad. So that is why people come here. Papa, if they have a lot of punyam and papam and they have to get rid of both, then they have to come to bhumi. The other worlds are all for getting rid of either papam or punyam. The upper worlds are to get rid of your punyam. The lower worlds are to get rid of your papam, or to anubhav, to experience papa and to experience the punya phala. Right? So, kva brahmalokaha, kvacha giram savitri. Giram savitri is giram vachamcha savitri devata ya saraswati asti satu kutra vartate. Vayantu varakaha. We are human. She is a great goddess here. She is the goddess of the entire learning. Even Brahma has to have her beside him for him to recite the Vedas. Tari Saraswati Shakti yadi vidyate. Asmakam, we are all mere mortals here, right? To get the grace of Saraswati is very difficult. Dishtya upalabdham api devatam. Okay, by some chance, we are fortunate, we have a little bit of that kataksha leshastu praptaha. We have that little bit of kataksha, anugraha praptaha. What do we do with that? Vikrinate vimudhaha. Katham vritti krite. Vritti krite, vritti is jivanam. Jivana upayartham. They need money to survive in this world. So for something or the other, they sell that devata, which is in the form of a vak, speech, and because of that grace that they have got, they have written kavyams here. After writing kavyams, what do? They don't keep it as manuscripts in their, very few people keep it as manuscripts in their house. Immediately they will look for a publisher or a patron. In those days, in Nilakanta Dikshita's time, they must have immediately gone and stood outside the door of a Raja or a Dhanikaha. Kashchana dhanikaha prayaha bhavet, tasya, if they go and stand in front of him, he will give money for that kavyam. He will buy it, he will give money for that kavyam, and then this dhanika can go and probably give it in front of the king. There were kings at that point of time, so it was easy for them to get patronage from the kings. So these vimudhaha ityukte ye tatra kavya anugraham athava saraswati kataksha labhasya mulyam na jananti. Te eva vimudhaha. Those fools who do not understand the value of that Saraswati kataksha, they are indeed varakaha shochaniyaha. In the sense, they have to be pitied here because by chance, dishtya, adrishtavashat, upalabdham api tam devatam. Upalabdham praptam api tam ityukte brahmaloke ya vasanti asti tam saraswatim devim devatam. Labdham, after attaining that goddess of speech, by chance, by those who are all fortunate, but they end up selling her for the sake of living. Tam vikrinate, they sell them for themselves. So this here actually vikrinate can be for both atmanepada, that is atmane athava parasmai. It is not parasmepada. Whether it is atmanepada or parasmepada, it will take on atmanepada when you add vi upasarga here. I'll get into that later. So first, kva brahmalokaha, where is the world of Brahma? Kva giram savitri, where is this goddess of speech? And where is this bhumi bhagaha? Where is this world? Where is this earth? Kvacha vayam varakaha. Where, when you say kutra ityukte, a lot of technical aspects in this shloka that we need to say. When you say adi enge idinge, where is that and where is this? Ityukte tatra ubhayor api ghatanam asambhava. It is very difficult to connect these two and say, but somehow the Devata who is present in Brahmaloka happens to come to these pitiable people who are living in Bhumi Bhagam. Kathamapi agata esha. Tari asambhavad vastunoho sambandha atra varnitaha. A connection between two objects that are completely impossible. Brahmaloka, something that is Brahmaloka, which is the seventh world, cannot be compared or cannot be connected with this Bhumi Bhaga, which is the first world here. Right? Bhumi Bhagaha yatra vayam smaha. So, Kwa Brahmalokaha, that's why I have given 1 and 1 here. In the sense, this Kwa Brahmalokaha has to be connected with Kwa Bhumi Bhagaha. And then Kvacha Giram Savitri, where is this Devata, Saraswati Devata, and where are we? We are mere mortals. Satu Devata Asti, Giram Eva Savitri. The entire, if you look at the learning in the entire world or speech that everybody talks about, the person who has given birth to all of these speech is Saraswati. So, Kvacha Giram Savitri, Yatu Brahmaloke Vasanti Asti, Kvacha Vayam Varakaha, Ye Bhumimage Vasamaha. So, where are we? Varaka. Varaka na, Ayyo Pavam. We say that in Tamil, Papam. So, and the madri, we talk about people who are very pitiable, who have to be looked upon with pity. So, Vayam tu Varakaha, Yataha Vayam tu Manushyaha Smaha. We don't have that divinity in us. So, it's very difficult to get that little bit of kataksham of Saraswati. So, that's why you'll have to connect the 1 and 2 with 1 and 2 behind. That is a specific alankara called Yathasankhya Alankara. If you have a grounding in grammar, you will know that there is a sutra called Yathasankhya Manudesha Samana. For Yecho Ayavayavaha, when you read that sutra, you will find another sutra to explain how those letters have to be connected. Yechaha, Ye, O, I, Au should be replaced by I, Av, Ayavayavaha, I and Av. That is the, to apply that sutra, you will use something called Yathasankhya Manudesha Samana. As it is Krama Pathitanam, Prathamam Kramena Ye Patitaha. In whatever manner, in whatever order the words or sentences or letters, in grammar you take it as letters. So in whatever manner those letters are read, and those to be replaced are read in the same order. So you will connect 1 to 1 and then 2 to 2. So you will maintain that same order when you apply it in practice. The same way, you use that concept also in Alankara, and it is called Yathasankyam Kramenaiva Kramikanam Samanvayaha. Kramikanam. Ye vakyani, yani vakyani, adhava ye shabdaha kramapatitaha santi. Those which are all said in an order. A very simple example that he gives in Kuvalayananda is Shatrum Mitram Vipattimcha, Shatrum Mitram Vipattimcha, Jaya Ranjaya Bhanjaya. Bhanjaya, Jaya Ranjaya Bhanjaya. Correct. So Shatrum Jaya, Mitram Ranjaya, Vipattim Bhanjaya. So 1 it goes with 1, 2 goes with 2, and 3 goes with 3. Shatrum Mitram Vipattimcha, Shatrum Jaya. You conquer the enemy. Mitram Ranjaya, you'll have to please the friend. And then Vipattim Bhanjaya, destroy any ill effects that may be there, any calamities that can come. So this is Kramena Patitanam, Kramikanam Saha Anvayaha. You'll have to do the Anvaya based on the order in which it is said. So that is one Alankara here. At the same time, the other more interesting Alankara, which is the Angi, which is the main Alankara here, is Vishama Alankara. So Vishama Alankara is Ananurupayoho Ghatana Varnana. Athva Asambhavad Vastu Sambandha. Where there is two things, you are using the word Kwa and Kwa to say that two things cannot be connected at all. Brahmalokastu Kwa Vartate. Bhumi bhagastu atra vartate. Katham ubayos sambandhah sadhyah. It is not possible to connect these two. Kvacha divya devi saraswati vartate. Kvacha vayam manushyaha varakaha smaha. So how can these two people be connected? One is a god, one has divinity, the other person is mortal. So these two immortal and mortals can never be same. Tathapi, then you are connecting these two and saying in one sentence. When you use the word kwa, even in if you see examples like in Raghuvamsha, you have Kwa Surya Prabhava Vamshaha, Kvacha Alpa Vishayamatihi. Surya Prabhavaha, Surya Vamshaha Kwa Vartate, Mama Matihi tu Alpa Vartate, Katham Varnayitum Shakyaha. How can I describe that great Surya Vamsha? It is not possible for me to describe that Surya Vamsha. Tathapi pravarte, right? Udupe nasmi sagaram. So I'm trying to, even then I'm trying to explain this. There are many such examples you will find in Shakuntalam, you will find in Bharavi, Kwa Bhuvatinam Charitam Kwa Jantavaha. In Shakuntalam you will have Kwa Shirisha Mridvangi. Something like that. So there are several examples of this that is called Vishama Alankara. Vishama ityukte something that is not similar. Sama iti na. These two are not equal. These two are different. Vishama. Yet you are saying that this is possible now. Brahmaloke Vidyamana Saraswati Adhuna Manushyahi Prapta iti. Dishtya Tathapi. We have seen earlier how only Bhagyottaraha, only people who are very fortunate are able to attain this Saraswati in their hand. So, Dishtya Upalabdham api devatam tam, when this goddess has been attained by people who are very fortunate, tathapi vimudhaha yete, vimudhaha visheshena mudaha. Visheshena mudaha is not people who are just generally normal, dull people or ajnaha itina. Prasada mulyam ye na jananti. Saraswati anugrahasya mulyam, the value of Saraswati anugraha, those people who do not know that, te eva visheshena mudaha vimudaha kim kurvanti vipananti vikrinate. The sutra here that applies for vikrinate is parivyavebhyaha kriyaha. This is a dhatu, krinya dhatu, krinati, vikrinate. You cannot have vikrinati, whether it is whether when you sell and the result of that is for yourself or you are using that money to support somebody else, it doesn't matter. Usually in verbs, kriyapadeshu, yatra kriya phalam atmane vartate, tatra atmane padi upayujyate ubhayapadina. When a verb can be used in both Atmanepadi and Parasmaipadi, when I say Mata Pachati, it is Parasmaipadi, which means she is cooking for everybody else. There is food for everybody else. So Mata Pachate ityukte, Sarve api bahihi khadanti, Mata tu Atmane eva. She only cooks for herself, everybody has to eat outside. So that is Atmanepadi. There are rules that sometimes can apply if the Kriya Phalam is either for themselves or for another person. There are, when you go deep into grammar, you will understand all that. Whereas here, whether you earn money, whether you sell and earn that money for yourself or for another people, it doesn't matter. If you use the Upasarga Pari, Vi and Ava in front of this Dhatu, Krinya Dhatu, it has to be only in Atmanepadi. So Vikrinati is wrong. So Vikrinate is the correct form of usage. So Vikrinate, Vikrinute, Vikrinate, I think something like that. I'm not able to recollect that. Okay. So Kwa Brahmalokaha, Kwa Giram Savitri, Kwa Bhumi Bhagaha, Kwa Vayam Varakaha, Dishtya upalabdham api devatam tam vikrinate. Devatam sakshadeva, they don't sell her directly. You take it as tasyaha prasadaha, prasada rupena tu, they are able to write kavyam and they use that kavyam to, they sell that kavyam in order to get fame or money or whatever they want to. You know? They don't just appreciate the value that they have on hand. You take it as lakshana to indicate that they don't appreciate it. Kva brahmalokaha, kva giram savitri, kva bhumi bhagaha, kva vayam barakaha, dishtya upalabdham api devatam tam vikrinate vritti krite, for the sake of, for a person, jivanasya krite arthe, vimudhaha. And the next one is, because it's difficult to, when you write kavyams, you want listeners also, right? Just to appreciate it, not for the case of selling it or anything. Jivanasya krite tatra vikrinanam tu na. Kevalam, kavya parishilanartham ye sahridayaha santi. So there can be critics there. But then most of the times it so happens that they are dushpanditaha. It's very difficult to please them. Dushpandita aradhana dukkashilat. I think here aradhana, natu aradhana. Dushpandita aradhana dukkashilat kashtat asmat kavitadhikarat varam jagatyam iha muka bhavaha varanjatiryak trina gulma bhavaha. Half the time when you write a shloka, shrotra jananam pritya eva kavyam likhyate. You write a kavyam in order to please a person who is listening. If those listeners turn out to be dushpandita, bad scholars, terrible scholars, then you're gone. It is a very difficult task to please them. So the authority of kavyam, kavya adhikaraha, kavita adhikaraha is a kashtam, is a very difficult, the authority of poetry is, it is a very tough position. And if that tough position is occupied by a dushpandita, then we have to please that dushpandita. And that is a very, that is something that is sorrowful. Dukkha. So dushpandita aradhana dukkha shilat. Shrotaraha yadi dushpanditaha santi tesham aradhanam eva. Aradhanam ityukte toshanam priti. Dushpanditanam aradhanam. Tadrisha aradhanam eva dukkham. So dushpandita aradhana dukkham eva Sheelam yasya adhikarasya idam tu idam samasta padam tu kavita adhikaraha iti padasya visheshana rupena vartate. It's an adjective to kavita adhikaraha, the authority of poetry. Now, what is the character of this poetry authority? Someone is there who is sitting in that position of looking at or analyzing all the poetry and trying to find out which is good and which is bad. Okay, so what is this character? This character of poetry authority is something very, something to be regretted about, because it involves pleasing terrible scholars, worshipping terrible scholars. So, asmat kashtat, this is a very difficulty that is present, that a kavi has to face. So, tataha tadapekshaya, panchami atra apekshaya, it is better. What is better? Iha jagatyam, in this world, muka bhavaha varam. It is better to be speechless. It is better not to talk at all. Maunam apanditana. Those who do not have any pandityam, it is better to keep quiet. Whereas here he says, even if you have pandityam, if you have to please bad scholars, it is better to remain quiet. So, iha jagatyam, in this world, muka bhavaha, being quiet. Mukasya bhavaha ityukte vak rahityam. Vacham rahityam eva muka bhavaha. Tari vag rahityam eva varam sreshtham. It is better to be quiet than try to please terrible scholars. Or he gives another option. It's better to be born as a tiryak, pashu. Tiryak can also mean birds. It can also mean pashu. So tiryak does not mean straight, vakra. Those who do not walk in two legs, those who walk sideways, or those who, the animals walk on all four facing downwards, Tari tiryak gacchanti. They do not walk straight like humans. So they are called tiryak pashu. So tiryancham pashunam bhavaha athava trinanam bhavaha. It is better to be a grass or gulma shrub. Gulma, the difference between gulma and vriksha. Vriksha is a tree which has a kandam, which has a trunk. So that which does not have a huge trunk is called a gulma, a bush or a lata. Latadi api gulma iti vaktum shakyate. Tari kanda rahita vrikshanam bhavaha api varam sreshtham. So it is better to be speechless or be an animal or grass or shrub than to suffer the authority of poetry. Then the kavita adhikarat ete bhavaha varam. Because that kavita adhikara has someone in that position who is going to look and find out whether there are doshas or not, or they will look at avidyamanan doshan pashyanti, adava gunan doshapakshe aropayanti, kavya moolam na jananti. The three shlokas that have said, that have been explained before, in the first shloka you will find gunana na grinnantu khalaha tatahkim grinnantu doshanapi tatahkim. So take that also. Here, when a person is in the position of analyzing a poetry and trying to give a critical analysis of that poetry, he will probably only look for dosha. He is not going to praise the merits. Dushpanditaha kalu saha. Tari saha gunan na pashyati. Doshaneva pashyati. Prathama. Anantaram tasminneva shloke gunan doshapakshe yaha aropayati is uktam. So he will probably try to put the merits in the group of faults. That is also not desirable. So saha dushpanditaha eva. Tritiye, in the next shloka if you find, the third point is he does not know the value of the poetry, because this poetry is something that is very difficult for a person to manage. That's why you have only handful of poets. So many people in this world, not everybody can become a poet. It is a very difficult task. Creativity itself is a difficult task. Being an artist itself is a difficult task, because it has to have that Saraswati Kataksha. There is a divinity associated with it. And they don't understand. Dushpanditaha tu na jananti avagachanti yan kashtan kavayaha anubhavanti iti. They don't understand the value of it. Instead of giving constructive criticism, they will only look at the faults and say that, okay, reject. That's all. So, dushpandita aradhana dukkha shilat kashtad amushmat kavitadhikarat varam jagatyam iha muka bhavaha varancha tiryak trina gulma bhavaha. Prayo jadaha matsarinascha loke doshottaram mrigyagunam vacho naha Gunaikalubdhopi janaha kvachit syat iti ashaya eva ayam iyan prayasaha. So the last word is just completely sandhi here. Gunaikalubdhopi janah kvachit syat ityashaya eva ayam iyan prayasaha. You will have to split those words very clearly. Aradhanam tu purvasmin shloke vartate. Aradh toshanam. Preeti Karanam, pleasing Dushpandita, is one of the aspects of trying to write a poetry and getting it criticized by people. But you will have to please not Supanditaha, Parantu Dushpandita Aradhanam. Ityukte tatra, not worship. Literally, Aradhana is a word that you use for worship or puja and all that. Here, you will take it as Prenanam, pleasing people. Toshanam. Okay. So, Prayo Jadaha Matsarinascha Lokaha Doshottaram mrigyagunam vachonaha gunaikalubdhopi janah kvachit syat iti ashaya eva ayam iyan prayasaha. Next, so prayaha lokaha. Now, there can be a question. Yadi jadatvam varam. Now, how did he end the earlier shloka? He said it is better to be either Muka Bhavaha. Muka Bhavastu tatra Jadattvameva. Even if you have any thoughts, if you are not going to express it, it is very close to being a Jada. correct? Achetana. Tadanantaram Pashavaha, Pashunam tu Tatra Sahitya, Sangita, Ityadi, the creativity itself is not there for them. There is a Shubhashita, right? Sahitya, Sangita, Kalavihinaha, Sakshat, Pashuhu, Puchavishana Hinaha. Te Martyaloke, Bhuvibhara Bhutaha, Trinam Nakadannapi, Jivamanaha, Te Martyaloke, Bhuvibhara Bhutaha. So this is a person who is like a Pashu is, he does not, if he does not have any vasana for Sangita, Sahityam or any Kala, Sahityam there is Kavya Karana. So Prayaha, Jadaha, he starts off his Shlokam itself with this. So Purvasmin Shloke, in the earlier Shloka, he said Jadatvam is better. Mukha Bhavaha, Trina, Gulma, or being a Pashu. This is much better. Then why is this poet writing this Kavyam? Kimartham atra grantakarane prayasaha kriyate kavina. Iti tatra prashnaha bhavet khalu. So to answer that, Nilakanta Dikshita says, see, people in this world, I understand, prayaha, lokaha, in the people in this world, lokaha, jadaha, they are either people who do not understand, kavya tattvam na jananti, moodhaha vartante, Athava Matsarinaha, if they know something, Kavya Tattvam Yadi Jananti, Kavya Visheshana Yadi Jananti, Tarihi Matsarinaha, they become very jealous. They are jealous of the achievements of another people. So Para Kirtim Athava Para Sampattim Asahamanaha Matsarinaha. Jealousy, Matsaraha is jealousy where you're not able to tolerate the success of another person. Okay, so that is Matsarinaha. So either people are totally ignorant of the value of poetry, or they are jealous of people who have that creativity in them and they're able to write that kavyam, then they immediately, the other set of people are extremely jealous of these people. So, kim bhavati tatra janaha prayaha jadaha bhavanti tarhi kavyasya vishesham athava kavya mulyam na jananti matsarinaha bhavanti prayaha yadi mulyam jananti tarhi kavya vishesha kavyam upayujya ye kirtim prapnumanti athava kavyasya tattvam ye jananti kavyam cha likhanti uttama kavyam cha likhanti tesham kirtim ete na sahante. They are unable to tolerate the success of the other person. Now, Kavi, he says, see, my work, naha vachaha, I accept. So, Nilakanta Dikshita here says, doshottaram vartate naha vachaha. My words have a lot of doshas. Okay, I will give in to that. He doesn't claim that he has written an uttama kavyam. He has written a kavyam where there are no faults at all. He says, Doshottaram naha vachaha. Mrigya gunam cha. It's okay. A guna has to be searched for in my words. Or it can also be that a person who is a jada or a person who is jealous will probably think of my words as being full of faults, and the gunas have to be mrigya, anveshaniyam, mrigyate iti mrigyaha. That is, it has to be searched for. I don't know where the gunas are. There are only faults in his kavyam. Ityapi vaktum shakyate prayaha. Te na jananti, it's okay. So they will probably think that my work is filled with faults. Doshottaram. Doshottaram ityukte uttara iti. We have seen this word before also. Bhagyottaraha ityatra. Bhagyena adhikaha. Atishaya bhagyavantaha iti purvameva drishtam asmavi. Tathaiva atrapi doshottaram ityukte doshaihi uttaram adhikam yat vachaha. This is an adjective to the word vacha. Vachaha, vachamsi, words which are filled with dosha. Atishaya dosha yuktam prayaha bhavet bhavatu nama. It's okay. Mrigya gunam. Gunastu tasmin vachasi mrigyam anveshaniyam vartate. It's okay. I'm fine. Janaha, there could be possibly, then why do you write, right? That's the question that is there here. Possibly, somewhere in this world, someone might want to look for only that guna and he might appreciate that guna in my kavyam. And for that person, yan prayasaha kriyate. I am doing such a great effort only for that person, out of hope that there is some person somewhere who is greedy for only those merits. Guna eka labdaha. Gune ekasmin vishaye eva lubdhaha. Lubdhaha ityukte abhilasha yuktaha vartate. Abhilashukaha. Yaha ichukaha. One who wants to only look for merits in a kavyam. He is willing to dismiss the faults that are there, and he wants to only look at the guna. Right? Guna dosho budho grinnan. As in Shivaleelarnava Apedikshita says, Shiva takes both guna and dosham, but he keeps the dosham within himself. He does not let others know. Whereas Shirasa Shlaghate Purvam. He takes the guna, he keeps the dosha within himself. He takes the guna and praises it so much, like keeping the Chandra on his head. Tatha bhavitavyam. Tatha prayaha kaschana vartate yaha gunameva pashyati. Yatra kutrapi gunaha astiva iti anvishanna yaha gacchati tam prati eva mama kavyam. Iti ashaya. So, gunaika lubdhaha api janaha guna ekasmin gune eva lubdhaha kaschana vartate chet kvachit syat. Kvachit ityukte kutrachit. Somewhere there must be a person who wants to only look at merits. Iti ashaya. Iti akankshaya. With the expectation that there will be some person like this. Yan ayam prayasaha kriyate athava prarabdhaha. Such an effort has been started by me to write a great Mahakavyam in the hope that there will be someone who wants to look only at gunas. See, in this sloka, he has combined two great poets' works. Actually, one is Bhavabhuti, who was an 8th century writer, and one is Bhartrihari. We don't know when he wrote. So, this is called Samvada. Samvada, in the sense, it is striking resemblance to other poets' kavyams, padyam. If you look at Bhartrihari's shloka, he starts off with shloka with Prabhavaha smayadushitaha ajnana upahatascha anye vidvamsaha. Last time I said that shloka, now I another. Prabhavaha smayadushitaha abodha upahatascha anye jirnamange subhashitam. Vidvamsaha. It is in Niti Shatakam. It's the second shloka. The first one is the Mangala shloka, and the second shlokam is Bodharaha Matsaragrastaha. It's very similar. So here he says Prayaha Jadaha Matsarinaha. If they know things, Bodharaha Chet Matsaragrastaha. He uses the same word here. Matsara is jealousy. Those who know are filled with jealousy. Those who are have a lot of wealth, they are very prideful. And then abodha upahatascha anye. Those who do not know anything are jadaha. Prayaha jadaha matsarinaha cha. The second part is an influence of Bhavabhuti, because there in Bhartrihari, he says Jirnam ange subhashitam. Let all of these great sayings become digested within myself. And nobody is going to understand this. Tathapi likhyate eva. It is going to get digested within myself. Jirnam ange subhashitam iti. That is a very pessimistic way of looking. Whereas Bhavabhuti had an optimistic way of looking. He said, Yenama kechid ihana prathayantyavajñam. Those who are all insulting me and saying that you have not written a good kavyam. Jananti te kimapi tan prati naisha yatnaha. Na yesha yatnaha prayasaha. This effort is not towards persons who are trying to insult my works. Ye doshaneva pashyanti tan prati eshaha yatnaha naivasti. Utpatsyate. There will be a person sometime. Athava asti. Mama kopi samana dharma. A person who understands me, he probably will be born, or he is already present today. This effort is only towards that person. This is not towards anybody else. Kutaha, how do you say it with so much of conviction that there will be a person who will come about later, or he is already present? Katham evam uchyate iti chet. He says, Kalohyayam niravadihi. The time is eternal. Vipulacha Prithvi. This earth is also quite big. Kutrapi, kvachidapi, kadapi, saha prayaha bhavet, yaha mama kavyam pashyati. Guna ritya. He will only look at the gunas that are present there and he will appreciate my kavyam. Iti ashaya eva yan prayasaha. Yan itukte idrik prayasaha kriyate. So prayaha jadaha matsarinaha cha lokaha doshottaram mrigya gunam vachaha naha gunaika lubdaha api janaha kvachit syat iti ashaya janaha gunaika lubdho gunaikaluब्धोऽपि जनः क्वचित् स्यादित्याशया एव अयं यान् प्रयासः. I'll just do one more shloka and then please stay so that there are some announcements that have to be made. So please stay till the end of the class. Vedaham etam purusham mahantam ityamananto nigamas sagarvam Shvanah krita yena sayeva devo varnyaha katham vyomasanskrit varti. Now this grantha prayasaha has been given. Now what is the vishayam? Grantha vishayastu atra parameshwaraha. Parameshwarasya mahima eva atra prastuyate. So why is this effort being made? This effort is being made for that person who is going to sayeva adhikari. So adhikari vishaya prayojanam. You'll have to give for any text, you'll have to give who is the adhikari, who is capable of or who is worthy of reading this kavyam. One who can look only at gunas or one who can look it at a very critical view, not to completely denounce the kavyam. If he is able to find out at least one guna, then my kavyam is successful. That is the moral of the earlier shloka. Now here, what is the Grantha Vishayam? Grantha Vishayaha tu, it is a great Vishaya here. So, Vedaham etam purusham mahantam iti nigamaha sa garvam yam amanantaha. So the Lord or the Supreme Reality, Paramatma, in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, he is being described as the Purusha, tam param brahma param brihantam yathanikayam sarva bhuteshu gudam vishwasya ekam pariveshtitaram isham tam jnatva amritaha bhavanti. The earlier shloka, that is, this is in the 3rd adhyaya, and the Vedaham etam purusham mahantam is the 8th verse. If you look at the 7th verse, it says param brahma brihantam yathanika sarva bhuteshu gudam, that Paramatma who is present as an antaryami in everybody else. Sa vishwasya ekam, he is only one entity in this world. Tam jnatva, after knowing him, everybody attains moksha. In the next verse, he says, Aham etam purusham mahantam purusham veda. I understand. I ityukte atra vedaha eva rishi mukhena evam vadanti aham. I understand Veda. Katham Veda, kam Veda, Purusham Mahantam Veda. I understand this Purusha, that is this Antaryami, Pratyagatma, Sakshi, to be that Mahan Purna Purusha, Yataha Saha Sarvasminneva Vartate iti Karanat. Okay? Iti Vedaha Vadanti Nigamaha Amanantaha Nigamaha Katham Amanantaha Sagarvam. With great pride, they claim, the Vedas claim that this Lord can be described, this Paramatma can be described. I know him. Iti uktva tadanantaram, they also say Vang Manasa Agocharam. Vang Manasa Ativarti. Vacham, Vachaha Manasaticha Ativartate. One who is beyond words, Vak, and Manasa. One who is also beyond the mind. He cannot be understood by words and mind. Now, what has this Lord done to these Vedas? Paramatma, who comes in the form of Dattatreya, and there are, if you look at the iconography of Dattatreya, he has 4 dogs. He is being followed by 4 dogs. Those 4 dogs are supposed to be the representations of the 4 Vedas. So, Sarameyatvena Tatra Paramatmana Kritaha Vedaha. Shvanaha kritaha, yena paramatmana devena devaha, vedaha, sorry, nigamaha, shvanaha kritaha. They have been made into kukkuraha, dogs. Katham sadevaha, how can that Lord be described? Katham sadevaha varnyaha, vang manasa ativarti devaha, the God who is the supreme, who is beyond words and mind, how can he be described by me? So, grantasya vishayaha tu atra mahan vartate, kavya tattvam api mahan vartate, tarhi katham asmabihi varnyate iti kavihi swayam grantha vishayasya mahatvam varnayati atra. I'll explain the shloka again in the next session. We'll also have the question answer session in the next, because there is some announcements that need to be made. One is the next class will probably be the last class, and then there will be an assessment for this course. We will have a 50-mark assessment, which will be after the Navratri in the weekend of 7, 8, 9, October 7th, 8th and 9th. It'll be a 50-mark assessment. That is one announcement. And then I think Sahana wants to do something. Let me just check if she's there.